Let's take a look at the Chicago Bears offensive line. Versatile Kevin Doggins again starts at left guard. James Williams at right tackle despite an injury that almost sent him out of action. Anthony Thomas starts at running back. Des White and Marty Booker coming off 100-yard receiving games against the Detroit Lions. Dustin Lyman begins at tight end. And Jim Miller, who said because of the cold and because of his elbow, it might affect the location of his passes. He begins from the 18 with a pass, but that is all nullified as a flag is thrown before the snap. Ron Winter and his crew leading it today.
False start. 89 offense.
And
5-yard penalty.
Not the way you want to open up a game, as Dustin Lyman called for the false start. John Davis, the regular tight end, out with back spasms, and John Gilmore, a rookie, will be the backup to Lyman. Both teams have been plagued by injuries on both sides of the ball all year. 1st and 15. Following the penalty and the quick pass to Marty Booker, and Booker gets a couple of those yards back. Let's take a look at the Packers defensive unit. And Gilbert Brown inactive with an ankle injury, so Rod Walker replaces him. But Vonnie Holliday is back. Nate Wayne, Hardy Nickerson, and Niall Diggs the linebackers. Diggs coming off his first career interception against Tampa Bay. And Mike McKenzie having an outstanding year at cornerback. And Marcus Anderson, the rookie, playing extremely well as well. 2nd down and 9, and the handoff to Anthony Thomas off the left side has a big opening, and Darren Sharper will push him out of bounds, but not before a huge gain of 26 for the A train.
And that's an area that the Chicago Bears have to concentrate on this football game in running the ball. They struggled last week. The Green Bay Packers defense did against the Tampa Bay Bucks with perimeter runs. And that is really the strength of this offense. They run the toss cracks and the counters as well as anybody in the NFL.
And Thomas, who gained only 40 yards last week against the Lions. Bears trying to break what has been an unenviable string, not scoring on their first possession this year. 1st and 10, and a flag is down. So once again, the Chicago Bears, who had a false start to open the game, called for another one here.
False start. Number 80, offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
Diggs are on right there. Frustration on his part. He knows his team has to come in here and eliminate their mistakes. They are not good enough to have mistakes to be able to beat the Green Bay Packers. They have to play an error-free football game.
And I don't know if they'll play error-free, but one thing is the Bears have to gain the advantage in the turnover battle, something that has plagued the Green Bay Packers. 1st down and 15 once again with long yardage, and here's Marty Booker on the screen, and he's buried in a hurry. And Mike McKenzie coming in to make the play.
This is a play that I just do not believe works at the NFL level. At number 1, the speed and the athleticism of the defenders. And number 2, in the college game where this play really caught on, you're allowed to block as an offensive player before the ball is caught. You can't do that in the NFL. So there's a couple of reasons why I think that play is limited in its success at the NFL level.
John Shoup, the offensive coordinator of the Bears, now looking at 2nd and long, 2nd and 18. Short of the 40-yard line, and here's Thomas, this time trying to cut upfield, and he's going to lose about 3 or 4 more yards. On the last play, the Bears lost 3 on the screen pass. This time they lose 2 more with Cletius Hunt and Keith McKenzie making the tackle.
Well, when you're running the football, the one thing you have to prevent is penetration. And one of the things that the Chicago Bear offense does is down block and try and create gaps. That play right there, the defenders being able to beat those blocks and get into the backfield.
And Keith McKenzie, who is in there for the Packers, was a member of the Bears, inactive when these teams first played. And McKenzie this week criticizing Greg Blosch's game plan against Green Bay. So he had a lot to say playing against his former team. And here is Leon Johnson, who expects to see a lot of action today, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage, still 10 yards short of the 1st down, as Darryl mentioned, in Minnesota and Tampa Bay. Starting from the 22-yard line, Amon Green stumbling for a couple of yards on first down. Packers trying to unleash that ground game that has been missing. Looking at the offensive line, Mike Flanagan, the left tackle, and Frank Winters playing center with Chad Clifton, who thankfully is home from the hospital here in Green Bay. Amon Green, the chief running back, with Driver and Glenn, the wide receivers, and Bubba Franks, the tight end. Brett Favre, more interceptions in a 2-game regular season span ever in his career, 7 in the last 2, and the pass is thrown incomplete.
Packers trying to set up a screen pass there, and Amon Green getting caught up with all the rush, and the Packers, one of the better screen teams in the league, just out of sync on that play right there.
Favre threw for his season's high
in the vicinity of the pass.
So he was throwing to the receiver, who was Amon Green, in case anyone was considering that he was trying to just ground the ball. So 3rd down and 8 coming up out of the shotgun is Favre. Had his season's best game yardage-wise against the Bears earlier in the year, looking for a receiver and loses the ball as he is sacked. And the Bears hoping to recover. And they have, the Chicago Bears, and it was Roosevelt Colvin, the linebacker, who they said would be blitzing on Brett Favre today, forcing the fumble that the Bears recover.
And one of the things that the Chicago Bears have not been able to do in the previous few games against the Packers is get to Brett Favre. They have tried to pressure him, have not been able to get there. That puts their defensive backs in the tough position. Roosevelt Coleman, coming from depth, beats Amon Green on the protection and gets the hit on Brett Favre. So the problem that has plagued them over the last 2 games, turnovers, again shows its ugly head early in this football game today.
And the rookie defensive end Alex Brown makes the recovery, and Dick Duron told us yesterday, we know we can beat anybody, but we have to play at a high level and get most of the breaks. Well, they've got one here, and the Bears at the Packer 19. And the quick screen out to Marty Booker, and Booker pushed out of bounds by Tyrone Williams after a gain of 5 yards.
Here is the other thing that the Chicago Bears have to work on. Now that they have the opportunity in the red zone, the thing that they have to do is take advantage of this situation. Last year in the 2 games, the first game, they kicked field goals. They were in there 4 times, had to kick 4 field goals. The second time they met, up here at Lambeau Field, they actually had turnovers in the red zone. So this is an area of the field that they have struggled against the Packers recently.
There you see the red zone offense for the Bears looking to jump up. And there's the pitch to Thomas, and Thomas is set back. So the Packers laying in wait for Anthony Thomas, limiting him to a 2-yard gain with Nate Wayne in on the play. With under 10 minutes remaining, the Giants jump ahead of the Tennessee Titans in a huge game for both of these teams, really on the bubble as far as the playoffs are concerned. And you'll be checking all the scores dropping down in the right-hand corner right there all day. So the Bears last in the league in rushing and yards per carry, looking at 3rd down and 3. And Booker's pass, and it's going to be too low for Des White. And once again, you just brought that up, Darryl. The Bears with a great opportunity, forced to settle for 3 points.
And it's been a problem in the recent history in this rivalry, but also, going back to last week against the Detroit Lions, missed opportunities early in the football game to take control of that game. All of a sudden, they find themselves in a tight football game, having to come back at the end. They don't want that to happen against the Packers today.
Paul Ettinger, the hero last week in overtime, with a 30-yard field goal attempt. And it's a fake, and the flip to Dustin Lineman, who's going to score! Dustin Lyman, the tight end, and so the razzle-dazzle that the Bears are known for, especially on special teams, nets them a touchdown, and it will go as a 12-yard pass from the holder, Brad Maynard, to Dustin Lyman, and he was untouched going in.
Well, we had a Bears game last year. They used a similar situation. They showed the same motion with Brian Urlacher coming across the formation and going out of the pass. This time, they shovel the ball underneath to Dustin Lyman.
as we see the touchdown again.
Let's go back and look at that fake. You're looking for something here. What you've got is 8 guys away from the ball. Now they're going to motion Brian Urlacher across. That draws everybody's attention. Now here comes Dustin Lyman the other way with a little shovel pass. Bernard Robertson and Brian Robinson, some great blocks out front. A good use of an old look.
Warren Sapp with his hit on Chad Clifton last week. The Packers have never lost 3 in a row since Sherman has become head coach. And the pass to Donald Driver is incomplete. Unable to hold on to it was Driver. The Chicago Bears defensive unit, and they have been riddled with injuries during the course of this season. Alex Brown, the rookie, in there, along with Keith Traylor, Brian Robinson, and Philip Daniels. Ted Washington is on injured reserve. Howard, Urlacher, and Colvin are the linebackers, and the defensive backs make up the defense. The handoff to Amon Green, and Green, with a cutback, brings it out to the 44-yard line, getting 7 yards on the carry.
And the Green Bay Packers, and he ran very hard last week.
But he has not gained 100 yards in a game in 7 weeks, looking to break that today. And the pass out to Franks, the tight end, who makes the reception and is short of the first down. So holding was the Bears defense. So right now Chicago grabbing the early momentum, and Greg Blosch, the defensive coordinator, has to feel delighted going against Brett Favre. He, of course, like Dick Geron, used to be assistant coach. Action in the backfield for the Bears offense. Bidwell's punt is short, bounces on the 22, and Johnson is going to let it bounce inside the 15-yard line. Hang time.
We all know about Brett Favre's streak, but James Big Cat Williams makes his 130th consecutive start, and he was a game-time decision earlier this afternoon. And actually, earlier in the season against the Saints, played in a game that the coaches didn't expect him to be able to go physically. He needs to be on the field for the Bears to be successful.
First down for the Bears on the 14-yard line, leading 7-0. And here is the A-Train, and A-Train getting out for a yard gain to the 15. And of course, field position very important here. We have already seen that the punters are not going to be booming them today. The Bears with the early edge in yardage. The Packers surprisingly with only 4, as Brett Favre talking things over on the sideline.
You talk about how the weather affects the game, and most people go to the passing game, but Mike Sherman's big concern, and also Dick Geron, was the kicking game also. The fielding of punts, the kickoffs, that would be a big determination, and who has field possession during the course of the game. 2nd and 9 on a play action. Miller loses the ball, and a scramble for the loose ball. So the second time today there have been a fumble by the quarterbacks, and it was Nate Wayne, the linebacker, who forced Jim Miller to cough it up, and it was recovered by the quarterback himself. Nate Wayne coming on a delayed blitz right there, does a nice job of finding the crease, gets a hand on the ball, and that's going to be something that you'll have to watch also. That ball is cold, and what happens is you lose the ability to grip it. The quarterbacks have to be careful when they get under pressure not to have it out there with one hand. We've already seen Brett Favre with a fumble earlier in the game. Jim Miller lucky to get that ball back. Loss of 5 yards, 3rd down and 14, and the Packers looking to tee off here, showing blitz at the line. 3rd down and 14, and here they come, and the pass caught at the 15-yard line by Ahmad Merritt, and it barely getting back to the line of scrimmage, and that will force 4th down. So I mean, you can't do this much better if you're a defensive player. Look at that. Helmet right on the football. He knocks Darian Gordon 2 feet backwards. Packers lucky to dodge another bullet and not have another critical turnover out near midfield. What a great hit. And there is Darian Gordon. As much as that hurts on a normal day, it hurts just a little bit more today. I bet. Abdullah, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, where Packers know full well how hard they hit. Here is the flip to Amon Green, and Green getting back to the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. And Brett Favre, in talking about this game, said, look, even though we defeated this team in Champaign earlier in the year, he says, I know that we're going to see the best of these Chicago Bears today. And Dick Geron, talking to his team, said we did not fail to tell them how significant this rivalry is. It's genuine all the way. And the Bears have had the short end in recent years. 2nd down and 10 at the 49 of Chicago. Here is Favre, and the pass bobbled and caught by Green and hit
at the 46-yard line for a pickup of 3. And right now, let's send it down to Ron Pitts.
Well, Dick, you saw the hit on Darian Gordon there. He's got a bruised sternum. They're checking him out right now. Looks like he's just trying to get his wind back, get his bearings back to see if he can get back in this football game. That's it from here, Dick.
All right, Ron, thank you very much. Good to have Ron Pitts back at Lambeau. Of course, his father, Elijah Pitts, a terrific running back in his day, playing for Vince Lombardi in the glory days of the Green Bay Packers. 3rd down and 7. And there's Brian Urlacher, who is eyeing Brett Favre. Packers still looking for their first down, and they've got it. Donald Driver on the receiving end, and he regains his footing and inside the 5-yard line. The Bears missed a big tackle, and Driver, getting at least 15 extra yards, picks up 42 in all.
I don't know why.
So Donald Driver with the great run, 1st down, and tackled is Ahman Green by Keith Traylor. And Traylor, who has lost his buddy Ted Washington up front on the defensive tackle position, knocks Green back for a 4-yard loss.
Well, it's not very hard to lose sight of Keith Traylor. Now, I don't know what happened right there in the Green Bay Packers blocking scheme, but that's a man you want to account for, and he's pretty easy to find.
Well, what's happening up there, and of course that's plagued the Bears as well, is the fact that Mike Flanagan, who's done a great job as center playing left tackle, it was successful earlier this year when Chad Clifton was out with a knee injury, but right now it is 2nd and goal, and there is Favre dropped inside the 5. Donald Driver cannot hold on, bringing up 3rd.
I think the funny
3rd and goal at the 8. You didn't have to worry about that in Dallas. Ahman Green splitting, and the pass caught inside the 5 by Bubba Franks and knocked back. So the Bears defense holds and will force the Packers to go for 3. So the Chicago Bears coming back home after losing 2 road games. Longwell's field goal capping the 46-yard drive, but the Bears defense holding effectively on 3rd down, and there's Jim Miller getting set to go back to work. The backup quarterback today for the Bears is Henry Burris, who was with the Packers last year out of Temple University, as Chris Chandler inactive. He was the starter last week. Ahmad Merritt returning the kickoff for Chicago, and he is cut down. Whistle did not blow, and picks up a few extra yards close to the 30. Well, great news, America. Andy's back. Andy Richter returns to Fox tonight with the season premiere of Andy Richter Controls the Universe, the show that TV Guide calls the best mid-season comedy. That's tonight at 9:30, 8:30 Central, following an all-new Malcolm right here on Fox. Well, been kind of a subdued first quarter for the fans here in Packardom.
Ever since that fake field goal by the Chicago Bears, there's been a big letdown in the stands. I think there was some emotion that they had held into a field goal, but the Chicago Bears pull a little trickery to get those 7 points. They're starting to get back into it now, though.
Marcus Robinson lined up to the right with 3 wide receivers on 1st down, and Leon Johnson trying to go outside, and a penalty flag is thrown. Leon Johnson, a good all-purpose back. Ron Winter indicating holding against the Bears.
Holding. Number 71. Offense. Penalized a 10-yard penalty. Repeat 1st down.
So Big Cat holding, and that will bring the ball back to the 17.
And with the long action on that run play, a very difficult block for James Williams, holding at the point of attack. That play took quite a bit of time to develop.
Bears have been in long yardage situations throughout this first quarter, facing 1st down and 20. And Jim Miller's back to throw and going to Marty Booker underneath, trying to turn the corner, and he does effectively as he tight ropes his way down the sideline and goes out of bounds and gets enough for the 1st down. They needed 20, they got 21.
And you have to be aware of Marty Booker's speed. He does a lot of routes underneath coverage, and you consider him a big physical wide receiver, but look at him turn the corner right here on Nate Wayne and Marcus Anderson. He's very deceptive in his ability to break away.
And Marty Booker, as a result of that play, becomes only the second receiver in team history. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Curtis Conway, back in the mid-90s, was the only other Bear to do it. First down on the 38-yard line. Play action, and Miller firing in traffic and unable to hold on is Dustin Lyman. And right now, for a game break, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick and Darrell, you know, Carolina trying to snap an 8-game losing streak. Rodney Peete hooking up with the tight end Wesley Walls. That makes it 7-3 Panthers. And this Priest Holmes 5-yard touchdown run makes it 10 straight games with the rushing touchdown. He is the league leader with 21 overall touches. Back to Dick and Darrell.
All right, the early action getting underway around the National Football League. Second down and 10. Leon Johnson out to the 40-yard line for a minimal gain, bringing up third down. Steve Warren making the tackle, starting in place of Gilbert Brown along with Rod Walker. And there you see Aaron Campman coming off the field, suffering the broken hand, inactive last week, and back in the group this week. Bears near the bottom of the league in third down conversions. They need 8 yards. And Miller getting time, and the pass knocked down in midfield by Todd McBride. Des White was the intended receiver, but good coverage that time by the Green Bay secondary.
The loss to the Redskins last week with the help from the Eagles beating Niners.
And can the Eagles do it again with a backup? And here is Favre backing up and completing the screen pass to Ahman Green. First down for Green, and losing the ball, but down by contact was Green at the 43 after picking up 15 yards. And that apparently will be the last play of the first quarter. Brian Urlacher
down by contact.
Downfield.
Still out there. 800 more seats will be constructed.
We begin the second quarter. First down and 10 for the Packers. Ahman Green, and Green picking up 2 yards on the play. It's been 7 weeks since Green has gained 100 yards, and Mike Sherman telling us that he felt he might have lost patience against Tampa Bay by abandoning the running game somewhat. Second quarter has been a charm for the Packers and has been a demon for the Chicago Bears this year, as those numbers indicate. 2nd and 8 coming up for Green Bay. And again, it's Green finding an opening, first down. So the bread and butter, Brett Favre, sticking to the ground. Ahman Green with a good block from the wide receiver, Robert Ferguson, picking up 14.
And this is what you have to do with Ahman Green. Get him into some quick hitting plays. Take away the speed and pursuit of the Chicago Bear defense. And as you pointed out, Dick, he's into the secondary immediately with a nice block by Robert Ferguson.
So Green already carrying the ball 6 times for 22 yards. And the Packers on the Bear 42-yard line. Green in motion to the left. Favre looking to the right and hits the tight end Bubba Franks. And Franks is down at the 36-yard line after a 6-yard pickup by Alex Brown.
Stuck together, and here the Bears have a 7-3 lead.
2nd and 4. Favre with the high snap and going downfield and intended for Driver and off the back of Jerry Azuma, and no flag is thrown. Crowd looking for a pass interference call.
Continue to take that shot.
And the crowd looking for the
ball because Azuma did not play the ball. He did not look back, so it'll be 3rd down, and the pass incomplete, and a flag comes down. Javon Walker wrestled down by R.W. McQuarters, and this may give the Packers new life. Has been back in 1st and 10 now on the 32-yard line of Chicago on the end around. Donald Driver looking for an opening, and Driver getting inside the 30 and wrestling down by 4 or 5 white shirts, picking up only 3 yards on the play. And right now, let's check in again with James.
To 500 today. Meanwhile, here at Lambeau
Field, 2nd down and 7 on the Bear 29. Play action for Favre. He's got a lot of time, and falling down was the receiver Bubba Franks, and it looked like he was open and might have been shaken up in the process. Down and 7. They're scoring on a gimmick play for their touchdown, and the handoff to Amon Green, and Green is going to be snuffed out at the 28-yard line. And a good defensive play by Mike Caldwell and Brian Robinson, picking up about 2 yards.
Much sense to punt in this situation, so why not take a shot?
Packers 5 for 9. They need 5 yards, and here's Favre's pass, and it's in and out of the hands of Jerry Azuma. And so Mike Sherman's Packers fail on their 4th down attempt.
Than this booth right now.
After holding the Packers on downs, Bears take over on their own 28-yard line. Anthony Thomas going in motion. Jim Miller going up the middle, and Des White with the reception and fumbles the ball. White fumbles it, his ball's knocked out, and now saying down by contact at the 34-yard line. So the Bears will retain possession.
Right now, still a little bit numb after that 2-game losing
Streak have not shown much zest in trailing. 2nd down and 5, and here is Miller's toss, incomplete, intended for Des White. And for a game break, let's
game, I think, for the Falcons.
Absolutely, they've been on a great run right now. They cannot overlook the Minnesota Vikings. They have been playing very, very well the last 3 weeks. A victory over the Packers and a tough loss to the New England Patriots last week.
3rd down and 5, and Jim Miller, and throwing underneath on the crossing pattern to Marty Booker. 1st down and running out of bounds at the 45-yard line, picking up 12. So a hunt and peck kind of offense for the Chicago Bears so far in this game, and the gimmick play on a field goal attempt giving them the 7-3 lead.
And you see the pass selection right there, everything under 10 yards. John Shoup waiting to see how Jim Miller's arm is going to progress during the course of the game. He was worried about possibly having to take some shots early in the football game before it got sore, but up until this point he's content to throw it short.
And the snow picking up a little bit, just light flurries to this point. 1st down on the Bear 45, short drop, and Miller gets it off, but decked at the line of scrimmage for no gain is Anthony Thomas by Niall Diggs. Tell you one thing about Jim Miller. I don't remember a quarterback who is so adept at avoiding the sack as Jim Miller is.
And you know, nobody's going to say that Jim Miller is out of the mold of the mobile quarterback, but that is that pocket presence that you hear a lot of people talk about, and he can just sense the pressure, bides himself a little bit of time, and then he's got really good vision, and he studies so much. He knows where his safety valves are in the route.
Leon Johnson becomes the setback for Chicago. 2nd and 10. Miller going on the outside to John Gilmore, and the rookie from Penn State, who was not drafted, picking up 5 yards in the process into Green Bay territory. So Gilmore forced to play with Davis on the injured list.
And this is another player that the Chicago Bears are very high on. Marty Booker goes deep to draw some coverage down. John Gilmore, a catch on the sideline, unfortunately stepped on the line and lost a few yards as he tries to extend that play down the field.
And talking with Dick Duran, he said Gilmore more of a blocker than a receiver, but he caught that pass, his first of the season. And the Bears 3rd down and 5 at midfield. Again to throw, and crossing pattern to Des White, and a 1st down for the Bears to the Packer 42-yard line, an 8-yard pickup. So converting the 3rd down are the Chicago Bears, who lead at 7-3, playing a very smart game, and certainly keeping this Lambeau crowd out of the game.
And keeping the Lambeau crowd out of the game and keeping that gentleman right there on the sideline, Brett Favre. And one of the things that you have to do when you play the Packers is to have ball control as an offense and keep him off the football field. It's something the Chicago Bears did a great job of last year, but have struggled with this year. They're off to a good start this afternoon.
On the 42 of Green Bay, Leon Johnson cutting off tackle and bursting inside the 40-yard line for a pickup of 4. Leon Johnson getting a lot more play. You remember he was known as the natural when he played at North Carolina because he could do so many things, all-purpose yards. had tough injury situation with the New York Jets. Suffered a torn ACL in the opening game in '99 and then was out all of next season. But Leon Johnson may be seeing more action than he even expected with Anthony Thomas going into the locker room. 2nd down and 6. Bears in the lead and play action and a good fake by Miller, and the pass thrown through the hands of John Gilmore, bringing up 3rd down.
Right there, the first attempt by the Chicago Bears to get the ball down the football field. We've seen all the short catches and runs, and all of these designed routes that we've seen up until this point, they really haven't had anybody down the field to threaten. Their first shot right there with a little play action to John Gilmore.
There's another playmaker as of late for the Bears is Des White. Leon Johnson and Des White are 2 of the 3, and so far the Bears getting the job done.
And there's that time of possession right there. The Green Bay Packers doing a nice job of maintaining possession, keeping that offense off the field of the Green Bay Packers.
3rd down and 6. And here comes pressure on Miller. He gets rid of it, and the pass to Dustin Lineman, and the tight end knocked out of bounds short of the 1st down. Actually did not go out, stayed inbounds, and picked up 5 yards, and it'll be 4th down and 1. So now, what do you do if you're Dick Geron? You have a terrific field goal kicker in Paul Edinger, who kicked against the wind to win one against Detroit, but he stays off the field, and with 4th and 1, John Shoup and Dick Geron decide to go for the yardage.
Very similar situation that Mike Sherman just found himself in. We'll see if the Bears do a little bit better with their 4th down play than the Packers did.
Damon Shelton and Leon Johnson both in the backfield, and play action, and Miller is going to throw, having trouble finding a receiver, and fires it downfield, and it is caught by John Gilmore. And a flag is down back where Miller unleashed the pass. This would be an 11-yard pickup pending the penalty. So John Gilmore forced into action and seeing a lot of activity here in this first half. The call from Ron Winter. And roughing the passer called against the Packers.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 73 defense. Penalized half the distance to the goal. And a 1st down.
And there is Mike Sherman with a stern look on his face.
Well, Keith McKenzie, the new addition right there, a little extra shove on Jim Miller. And you talked about his ability to scramble and buy time. What a great job right there. That play is breaking down on 4th and 1. Jim Miller buys his time, gets the ball down the field. Great adjustment by John Gilmore.
And McKenzie with that extra swap. And of course, he's the former Chicago Bear who was critical of the Bears for their game plan earlier in the year. So it's 1st down on the 11, and here's Leon Johnson bursting inside the 10-yard line to about the 8.
You've got to be smart as a player who's going against your former team. You've got so much emotion, and you want to have such a good afternoon, but you got to guard against doing something foolish. And Keith McKenzie right there, he made a statement during the course of the week criticizing his ex-coaches, and now he's out here with a penalty at a critical time and a critical drive. So he's got to maintain his emotions right now going against his old teammates.
Hey, this Green Bay Packer team has been in a funk, and coming back to Lambeau has not been the magic potion, at least to this point. 12th play of the drive coming up. Here is Miller to throw, and his pass, touchdown! And it's Dustin Lyman who came out of the woodwork with a 3-reception game last week, getting 8 yards. And it is 13-3 on Lyman's 2nd touchdown of the game.
Dustin Lyman just runs a simple curl route down into the end zone, and Mike McKenzie's just a little bit late getting there. Marty Booker does a job of affecting all the coverage, but that's just a nice, easy, simple pitch and catch between the quarter.
They've never lost 3 in a row since Mike Sherman has been head coach, but they trail 14-3. And on 1st down, the play action, and there is Favre who dumps it off, and they may even lose a couple. Bubba Franks, the tight end, making the tackle for a 1-yard gain.
And you mentioned it, Dick. This was a textbook drive by the Chicago Bears, but they got a break early in that drive. Des White, a fumble. He's ruled down by contact. He comes back later on with a critical 3rd down catch, and now on 4th and 1. John Gilmore does a nice job of finding a little bit of an opening, and the culmination, a nice pitching catch to Dustin Lyman for the touchdown.
Thus 14-3 the score. Jim Miller hanging in there. Brett Favre trying to get into the game and passing to William Henderson out of the backfield for a pickup of 4 yards. Good tackle, Bobby Howard, the outside linebacker for the Bears.
Passes, he's got to continue to keep pounding Amon Green that running game.
He has gained 23 yards on 7 carries. And here is Favre still looking, and Favre, who can ad-lib with the best of them, and this pass caught shy of the 50. It'll be a first down. Donald Driver, who has emerged as Favre's favorite receiver.
That situation that Brett feels uncomfortable to throw.
So a first down for the Packers on the 48, and here is Amon Green, and Green has been running well. He's got a first down for the Packers, getting 12 yards.
Having gained 889 yards.
It's closing in for a third straight 1,000-yard season. First down and a fake, and here is Favre on the bootleg, is going to carry himself and slide at the 30-yard line, and the Packers pick up another first down, as it appears. Successive first downs on the 30-yard line, and there's Favre quickly to Driver, who is put down in a hurry by R.W. McQuarters, but picking up 5 yards in the process.
What they've talked about now, winning the last 5 games of the season, this is when everything starts to settle in for the playoff picture and not worry about anybody else.
And this is where they do their best work toward the end of the half. As you can see, they have been very consistent scoring-wise. And Amon Green,
Neither
team has used the timeout. Here's Favre going to the end zone, and Donald Driver, the intended receiver, broken up by Mike Green.
And that's
not been in the picture yet as a
receiver. Mostly it's been Donald Driver and Bubba Franks. 2nd and 10. Here's Favre dumping it off to Green. Green inside the 15 and picking up 6 yards, and it was Brian Knight, a rookie linebacker for the Bears, making the stop. It'll be 3rd down and 4 on the 13 of the Bears. Packers looking for their first touchdown of the game, and dropping the pass is Amon Green, who is open coming out of the backfield, and he would have had at least a first down and might have gone in, and so on
for a show, and that's exactly what happened.
And the kickoff fielded by Leon Johnson, and Johnson brings it out to the 31. Well, you won it 7 times. It's a minute to go, and the Bears on their own 33-yard line. Anthony Thomas with an injured index finger in the locker room. So Leon Johnson getting the call and making the most of it, getting close to the first down marker near the 43-yard line. Darren Sharper and Todd McBride combined to make the tackle. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB Terrell
playing for nothing but pride to motivate yourself, and it's a credit to the entire Bears staff and the players on this football team to come out and give the types of efforts that they have over the last month.
Bears have the first down on the 43. 44 seconds remaining. Leon Johnson trying to cut outside, and Johnson getting near midfield, gaining 5 on the play. And the Bears in a hurry-up mode now with 2nd down and 5, under a half a minute remaining. And the handoff again to Leon Johnson, who fumbles it, and the Packers recover at midfield. So the Bears in a hurry.
Now Brett Favre, another chance to get some points.
2 timeouts, but not much time left on the clock. And here is Favre. And Favre completing to Green up the middle, and Green getting inside the 35-yard line for the first down. And the Packers quickly call a timeout with 14 seconds remaining.
first down for the Packers.
On the 34 of Chicago, 14 seconds to go in the half. Favre spinning away, and the clock continues to go, going for the end zone, and the ball knocked down. That pass was headed out of the end zone, and it was Mike Brown who batted down that pass intended for Terry Glenn. And the Bears with a 3-man, 8-back front, 2nd down and 10, 3-man front, and here's the pass headed, and it's intercepted by Damon Moore, the former Philadelphia Eagle, who will run out the time. And despite the fact that he has lost it, It's picked up on the deflection, and it's Roosevelt Williams running in, and he is tackled inside the 15-yard line by Javon Walker. So a bizarre finish to this first half. Time had run out, and the Bears very nearly found themselves with a touchdown.
Well, this is one of the things that you have to guard against when you throw the ball into the end zone. If it is intercepted, you have got to let your guys know to go and make the tackle. Now, Damon Moore right here is looking for somebody to throw the ball to. He fumbles the ball right there, but now the Packers have it, so this is a live play. What a great job of hustle by Javon Walker of being heady. Right there, R.W. McQuarters had an opportunity to throw a block. If he looks behind him to pick up Javon Walker, that's a touchdown to go into half.
And that is
the play. They have to throw it into the end zone, and if not for a great hustle play by Javon Walker, they find themselves down 21-6 at this point.
And you saw Jim Miller, who's getting ready to go to work, and Miller with a touchdown pass to Dustin Lyman after Brad Maynard, the punter, on a field goal attempt and a fake threw to the tight end Dustin Lyman, his first 2 career touchdowns. And the Bears in front 14-6. And their defense has done a good job of stopping the Packers when they've had to. Javon Walker is back deep, and Paul Ettinger will be kicking off to start the second half. And the kick is picked up at the 25-yard line by Keith McKenzie. And the lineman showing a little bit of speed, bringing up close to the 40-yard line as we send it down to Ron Pitts.
Well, guys, you heard from Mike Sherman there. I also talked to Dick Geron going in at halftime. He said that fake field goal, they've been looking for the perfect time to pull that off. He felt the Packers had no idea it was coming. He was very happy about that. You may see something like that again. As far as the running game is concerned, he said that Anthony Thomas has a broken index finger. That does concern his run game a lot. You saw Leon Johnson had the big fumble there right before the half. That's it. Back up to you, Dick.
All right, Ron. Johnson gained 25 yards and 6 carries as Amon Green bursts forward and gets to the 45, picking up 7 yards. Green had the longest run from scrimmage at 14 yards and now has carried 10 times for 48 yards, nearly 5 yards a carry.
And that's one thing that they can't lose sight of. And when you've got a guy like Brett Favre at quarterback and the ability to get the ball down the field, I think sometimes you forget about who's behind him. And he's a guy that needs more touches. They've got to get him 20-plus carries during the game.
2nd and 3. Favre ad-libbing. Green as a receiver ducks underneath for the first down, trailing by 8 points. First down at midfield, and here is Green off right tackle with a big opening. Amon Green, and brought down finally at the 20-yard line by Mike Brown after the 30-yard gain, coming out of the game and replaced by Tony Fisher, the rookie. And falling down is Donald Driver as Brett Favre trying to go his way. R.W. McQuarters on the coverage.
Dane in the backfield. 2nd and 10.
And Fisher with the carry. And Mike Brown making the tackle at the 18, picking up 2 yards. We're early in the 3rd quarter, and there is Amon Green, who is flexing his knee or leg, and that's what he has done today. An impressive 122 total yards, including 77 on the ground.
Good to see him up just walking around on that leg, because while he was on the football field, they were checking his left knee. We looked at the replay. The only thing we saw is he could have come down and bruised that left knee, so hopefully nothing too serious, and we'll see Amon Green back in this football game.
3rd down and 8 out of the shotgun, and a fake shuffle pass, and the pass caught by Javon Walker. First down inside the 10 and close to the 5-yard line. 12-yard gain, and the Packers threatening to get their first touchdown.
A nice design play right there. They fake the shuffle pass to Tony Fisher. That pulls everybody up and allows Javon Walker to get in behind the linebackers in front of the secondary.
And it is 1st and goal on the 6-yard line. 14-6 the score. And the fake handoff. And going into the end zone, touchdown to the tight end, Bubba Franks. Who else do you go to when you get that close, Darryl?
Well, I tell you what, there is a guy you have to be.
Now, 14 to 13. Ryan Longwell will be kicking off. Ahmad Merritt returning for the Bears, and Merritt out to the 31-yard line.
Brown, they're going to re-wrap him and then bring him back
out. He's going to try it again. Okay.
All right, Ron. Meanwhile, the Bears leading by a slim 1-point margin with a first down on the 31, and Marty Booker had his head turned on that pass, incomplete. You know, a lot of fans may wonder why the Packers might not have gone for 2. And I know from our standpoint, it's so early in the game, it's kind of a moot point, Darryl.
If you don't make that 2-point conversion, now you're chasing that other point for the rest of the afternoon, and I think it sends a message to your football team, hey, I'm not confident that we're going to get back down into this part of the field to score again.
2nd and 10. Jim Miller. Interesting to see how the Bears respond here, and Miller's pass is caught by Des White at midfield, and that's the longest completion of the day, 18 yards by Jim Miller. Remember, he is playing with tendonitis in his elbow, did not throw all week.
And this is the role for Des White in this offense. He is their downfield receiver coming off his best career game last week. They need to get him more involved, but their attack today has been underneath with short passes. We'll see if Des gets more opportunities here in the second half.
First 100-yard game of his career against the Lions. 1st and 10 at midfield. Short drop, and the pass to the tight end Dustin Lyman, who has caught 2 touchdown passes, and Lyman picking up 5 yards before Todd McBride decks him. The other thing about the 2-point conversion is that sure, you want to get to 14, but that's something you do toward the end of the game. There's so much game to be played that you just have to let it play. And sometimes when you gamble like you do, you find that you missed an opportunity. (14 to 13). Nearly 5 minutes elapsed. 2nd down and 5 on the 45 of Green Bay. Leon Johnson forced to handle the ball with Anthony Thomas has a broken index finger and has not returned since he got hurt, picking up 11 yards and a first down to the Packer 35.
It's some good blocking in the middle with Olin Kreutz and Chris Valerio, but the thing that Leon Johnson does and why he is their short yardage back is because of his body lean. He runs with a real low center of gravity. You can see that on that run, a very low pad level. He is tough to bring down when he gets going north-south.
And he was known in the South as the natural when he played at North Carolina for all the things he could do, and he was also a quarterback at some point. Here is Johnson off the left side, and Johnson fights his way down to the 30-yard line with Keith McKenzie bringing him down after a pickup of 4.
They've decided to leave the umpires in the NFL in their traditional position in the mix of the front 7, and that's one of the hazards of the job. I think if you ask them, maybe some of them would have liked to have lined up in the offensive backfield where they were last season.
Brian Balliet is the umpire working today. And Ron Winter's crew, 2nd down and 5, under 9 minutes remaining in the 3rd. Leon Johnson, running room. And Johnson gets very near first down yardage. Tyrone Williams on the tackle. So the Bears very smartly answering that last foray by the Packers. Picking up 4 yards is Johnson.
And a nice lead block by Damon Shelton on Niall Diggs right here. He gets his outside shoulder pinned. He loses contain. Leon Johnson able to bounce it outside one-on-one with Tyrone Williams.
It'll be 3rd down and less than a yard for the Bears. Quarterback sneak, and Miller has it. Jim Miller, who has been in and out of the lineup all season for the Bears. Chris Chandler, who had started last week, and he is on injured reserve with an ankle injury or inactive in this game, and the backup quarterback Henry Burris.
Got to the point in the game last week against Detroit where offensive coordinator John Shoup told him, I'm going to call a deep pass. If you don't complete it, you're coming out of the game right now because I don't think you're healthy enough to play. Jim Miller will not quit. He will play until John Shoup removes him.
And no threat as a runner. Here is Miller up the middle, and the pass flagged down. They were going for Marty Booker, and Tyrone Williams on him, and a penalty marker thrown in the end zone.
Well, they threw the marker, but they there's the incomplete
pass, but a pass interference call.
Marty Booker and Jim Miller both
pass
running.
Pass incomplete. Pass interference. Number 37 defense. Spotted the foul is in the end zone. By rule, the ball is placed at the 1-yard line. First down.
So Williams wanted to make sure the officials knew it was no touchdown, but he was guilty of pass interference.
Well, Jim Miller and Marty Booker both running to the sideline, trying to tell Dick Duran to make the challenge. I tell you, it's hard to tell from that angle. It looks as though he has possession. The ball hits the ground, but it looked as though Marty Booker had possession, and that is a new rule change from a couple of years ago. As long as the ground does not help in gaining possession, it is a catch, but why risk it in this situation? It's first and goal at the 1.
First and goal in the 1. You only get 2 challenges. Why risk a timeout in case it doesn't go your way? But the referee, Ron Winter, going over to Dick Duran on the sideline.
Chicago has challenged the ruling on the field, but the pass is incomplete.
In a tight game with the Green Bay Packers, I'm not so sure about that. Fumble. Well, maybe they knew what they were talking about. Packers get it. Ron Walker recovers the fumble. And now, after the fumble, the Packers take over at the 1. Tony Fisher gets some running room and gets the Packers out of danger, picking up about 8 yards on first down, close to 9 yards.
But the Bears defense right now has to realize, yeah, we just had a critical turnover, but let's make a stop here and force the Packers to punt. With the wind conditions, they could get great field position back. They can't let what happened on that previous play affect their outlook on this drive right now.
2nd and 1. Brian Urlacher looking in, and the handoff to Fisher. Fisher may have the first down. Remember, Amon Green suffering a sprained left knee after a 30-yard run, and early in this 3rd quarter, and unable to play, so the rookie Tony Fisher handling the ball carrying duties now for the Packers. The other running back who saw action earlier, Najee Davenport, is on injured reserve. Packers have the first down on their 13, trailing by 1, 14-13, have never led in the game. Fisher up the middle. Fisher may have another first down, very close to it. Mike Green making the tackle, and it is another Packer first down.
Well, head coach Mike Sherman talked about his offensive linemen having to do a better job blocking up front this second half, and they have done a nice job on the Packers' 2 possessions. We've seen a number of long runs. We didn't see many of those in the first half. You take a look right there, their average per rush, the difference for the Green Bay Packers, 4.9 in the first half, 10 yards to carry right now early in the second half.
Favre looking to throw, and he's got Bubba Franks, the tight end, first down up to the 39-yard line. This drive started at the 1, and a 16-yard pass Favre to Bubba Franks.
Well, here's one of those throws that Brett Favre makes that other people just can't make. And he's drifting backwards. He's going to throw it off his back foot. Actually, both feet off the ground. Hits his tight end on a crossing pattern in the intermediate level between the linebackers. You just, you can't teach that. You can't coach that. There's a lot of people that probably feel you shouldn't throw that. But he's confident in his abilities.
And falling down is Favre, but not before he hands off to Fisher. And Fisher on a roll, and he churns his way into Bear territory, gaining 15 more yards. So Tony Fisher getting the job done since coming in for Amon Green.
They continue to open up big holes in this Chicago Bear defensive front. Frank Winters getting out on Brian Urlacher, cutting down his pursuit, and Tony Fisher is running very, very hard right now.
5 carries, 39 yards. And there is Winters and Urlacher pushing and shoving after the play. Fisher gaining nearly 8 yards a carry in his 5 attempts. First down in Chicago territory, and this completion to Javon Walker, and no, he was out of bounds, did not have both feet in. So 2nd and 10 coming up, and I'll tell you, the Green Bay Packers have all of a sudden, with a surge after that fumble at the 1-yard line, and it looks like a lot of the air has gone out of the sails of the Bears at the same time.
Well, they're a team, the way their season is gone, you know, we talked about it a little bit. You expect bad things to happen, and Jim Miller was concerned about that last week against Detroit. He really felt that the way they won that football game, that they would have eliminated that feeling. They just got another reminder with their fumble at 1st and goal at the 1. Now the Green Bay Packers looking to go on a 99-yard drive.
Bears turning it over 3 times, as have the Packers. And here is Favre, and Favre going for Glenn, who extends himself and makes the catch. Terry Glenn, and he is shaken up.
Everything's situated.
Packers with the first down
on the Bear 23. And here's Favre. Favre going into the end zone, and the pass is underthrown, intended for Driver, claiming he was pushed by Azuma or Green in the end zone. No call coming. And the fans also claiming that they thought maybe the Bears were guilty of encroachment. And somehow the Packers knew it would be that way today against the Bears. Fake handoff, and knocking the pass down was Alex Brown. Tyrone Davis, the tight end, was open, and Brown with an alert deflection.
Tyrone Davis is going to come back into the backfield, then go out on his route. Alex Brown, a very athletic defensive end for the Chicago Bears, started about the midseason point, getting more playing time with Brian Robinson moving down to the tackle position inside. He has been a real bright spot for this defense. He will be a good player in the future for the Bears.
4th-round draft pick from the University of Florida. Wonder how he likes the cold today. Terry Glenn checks in again. The Packer lineup, 3rd down and 10. Here is Favre dumping it off to Tony Fisher. Fisher with some blockers, getting inside the 15, and may be close to the first down, and I think he's got it. Tony Fisher with great second effort getting to the 13-yard line.
And again, it's Brett Favre in the screen. He's a constant. Now we've got Tony Fisher running it in place of Ahman Green, and he just sits there. He baits the rush. It looks like a pass. The linebackers and secondary are going back into their coverage areas, and he just quickly dumps the ball. And then the offensive linemen do a really good job of getting on somebody. They're not just running out in space.
And here is Ahman Green coming back on the field, and those fans that have seen him come on have noticed and are cheering. Meanwhile, it is 1st and 10 for the Packers on the Bear 13. And Favre looking for the Packers to take the lead, finding Donald Driver at the 12-yard line, maybe a pickup of 1. Coverage that time by Jerry Azuma. Brett Favre, who starting his 169th consecutive game, and Keith Traylor, the defensive tackle, helped off the field, replaced by Christian Peter. 2nd and 4 for the Packers. Packers looking to take the lead. Tony Fisher, and Fisher is knocked back and led by the middle linebacker Brian Urlacher, and then Mike Green, and a 1-yard loss for Fisher. 3rd down and 5 for Green Bay. Field goal will put them in front. Green limbering up, and it appears he's poised to get back. Not too soon as far as the Packers are concerned. 13th play of the drive coming up.
Tony Fisher's done a great job on this drive, filling in for Ahman Green. They have not missed a beat.
Third and 5. On the fake, here comes Favre throwing into the end zone, and it's tipped. And a fine play by Damon Moore, and it was Robert Ferguson standing in back of the end zone, and Moore alertly makes the deflection, bringing up 4th down.
And here's that shovel pass again that they use the play action off of. Robert Ferguson drifts into an open area. Damon Moore, a nice job recovering, getting back to get a hand on that football.
And Ryan Longwell, who has kicked 2 field goals,
this afternoon. He is a force in the middle, and without Ted Washington this season, has been asked to do much more as that defensive tackle, and it has played extremely well all season.
Listed at 340 pounds, the listing weight. Look at the Packers scoring drive.
Some of those guys are listed a little bit lighter than they actually are.
That was a 90-yard scoring drive. Started really from the 1 and then the field goal, putting the Packers in front. So instead of a 21-13 Bear lead, if they had gotten the touchdown, it's a 16-14 deficit. So that was a major turnaround in that sequence.
And I'm sure that that's what defensive coordinator Greg Blosh right there is telling his unit. Hey, listen, you know, we had an offensive turnover at the 1-yard line, but you guys just allowed them to go 90 yards for the go-ahead field goal. And that, you know, sometimes when you have a turnover like that, it's more of what happens after that turnover than the turnover itself. And the Bears defense still in a good position to give their offense good field position back, but they let one slip away.
Darian Gordon forced to hold the ball on the kickoff. Leon Johnson. Good return. Hard to bring down. Leon Johnson with a return of 29 yards. And Darian Gordon, who was the holder, making the play. Coming up next, the second part of our doubleheader, St. Louis Rams looking to stay in the playoff hunt when they travel to Philadelphia to take on the tough defensive-minded Eagles, or the Seahawks battle the division-leading 49ers. And the full day of NFL action continues next on Fox. Well, can the Eagles keep it going with defense and backup quarterback Andy Reid doing a great job last week calling the play?
That whole team elevated their level of play last week against San Francisco. The big question, can the Rams bounce back from a game that they probably felt knocked them out of the playoff race, but they are right back in it.
From the 35, Jim Miller with his team trailing, and nearly an interception on the deflection. It was Marty Booker who had a hand on it, and then Marcus Anderson behind him. And good defense, Cledius Hunt on Jim Miller.
Cledius Hunt getting there from the right tackle position. You'll see him work around Kevin Doggins. Jim Miller gets the ball. That is the danger when you throw the short passes over the middle. You see the hit right there on his back. When that ball is deflected or tipped or affected in any way, there are a lot of defenders in the middle of the field that can take that ball the other direction.
And no question, Darryl, the flow of the game has gone over to the Green Bay side. The pendulum has swung. And with under a minute to go in the third, the Packers with the lead and with the impetus and the pass and making the interception in front, and it is a pick by Tyrone Williams. Marcus Robinson was the intended receiver, but Williams had ideal position in front of him, and the Bears turn it over for the 4th time.
Well, that's a throw right there that Jim Miller would like to have back. Marcus Robinson one-on-one with Tyrone Williams on the outside. He plays that about as well as you can. When the receiver turns to look up the ball, Tyrone Williams turns around and he is in perfect inside-out position to make that interception.
And Tyrone Williams now with the interception. And problems for John Shoop and the Bears offense, trailing by 2. Tony Fisher remains in the game and carries on first down and picks up a yard to the Packer 46-yard line.
Game, so yeah, you're allowed to have a mistake when you're gutting an effort out like Jim Miller.
Here's Favre on the screen to Tony Fisher, and Fisher trying to dive his way into Chicago. Favre getting rushed, gets away, and Favre has Glenn, and then the pass is incomplete. Good defense downfield by Roosevelt Colvin on Terry Glenn.
I think he wants to just stay in Lambeau Field.
In the friendly confines.
He's hunting something else with what he had in his hand.
Leon Johnson, nothing. Opening minute of the 4th quarter. Packers leading 16-14. This has been the oldest rivalry in the National Football League. They started back in 1921 when Darryl Johnson used to watch television black and white set with Chicago's Staleys. George Halas against these Packers. You remember those early days.
Barry Lambeau.
2nd down and 9. And here is Jim Miller. And Miller's pass caught by Des White on the crossing pattern. may have the first down, but first for a game break, let's return to James Brown.
Hey, Dick, Minnesota has owned Atlanta in Minnesota. Here, a 1-yard run by Michael Bennett caps a 41-yard drive, and it is now Minnesota on top, 21-14. Back to Dick, Darrell, and Ron.
All right, JB, and of course the Atlanta Falcons right now would be one of the 6 teams. They would be a wild card playoff team at this moment with a 7-3-1 record, but that's in jeopardy. Bears with a first down, Leon Johnson, and they have stuffed the run. Cledius Hunt that time for the Packers, no gain.
Boy, he has just raised his level of play the last few snaps. Cledius Hunt right here. This is about the 4th time in the last 6 snaps that he has just been right into the offensive backfield, disrupting everything, running plays, passing plays. Just he's playing very inspired right now.
And he is, and he's doing it a little extra deal with Gilbert Brown out with an ankle injury. So Hunt has raised his game a notch. 2nd and 10 on the Bear 30, and a little fancy play as both running backs come out in motion, lined up to the right. The pass to the left to Stanley Pritchett in his first catch of the game. The backup fullback, and a 7-yard gain out to the 36. Tyrone Williams brings him down.
And one of the things that Stanley Pritchett and Leon Johnson do for the Chicago Bears is allow them to get into traditional 2-back sets, but then open up the formation because they are very athletic, have good hands, and are able to run different routes besides the running back routes from flexed out formations.
And all Gilbert Brown can do is watch and lead the cheers. 3rd and 4 for Chicago. Tight formation, and Leon Johnson in motion. Jim Miller looking for a receiver, has one. Short of the first down, Des White, and the ball is loose. And the Packers get it back, so the Bears now have 5 turnovers in their last 4 possessions. And the Green Bay Packers have it in Bears territory as White coughs it up, and it was Tyrone Williams who forced the fumble.
Trying to take advantage of the 5th turnover by Chicago.
First down on the Bear 35. Brett Favre with a pump fake, and Favre's pass, and it's caught inside the 30-yard line by Robert Ferguson. Well,
To replace the ones that were missing.
Amon Green back in the lineup for the Packers. And he is short of the first down by close to 4 yards. So Green back in and gingerly getting up. What do you mean?
Don't risk aggravating that injury that Amon Green sustained in the 3rd quarter.
39 yards on the ground for Fisher, averaging nearly 6 yards per carry. Here is Favre. His pass, great catch by Terry Glenn in a first down. So a week after Terry Glenn and Brett Favre, 16-yard gain for Brett Favre. And Terry Glenn, first down at the 12. The blitz, Favre going into the end zone, and it is ruled touchdown. Robert Ferguson, and the Bears are protesting. Robert Ferguson, 2. And of course the Bears trying to prevent the touchdown. Here's Fisher on the handoff. Fisher with great running, getting the first down inside the 5 and close to the 1. Tony Fisher, an undrafted rookie from Notre Dame, making the most of his chance with Green injured.
What a cut right here at the beginning of this run. He gets right inside Damon Moore right there, then runs through an arm tackle and all the way down to the 2-yard line. That is a great physical run by Tony Fisher.
50 yards on 8 carries for Tony Fisher. 1st and goal at the 1. And Bill Ferrario, who plays right guard, is reporting as an eligible receiver at tight end number 63. Handoff, and Fisher, no gain on the play, bringing up 2nd down and goal.
9 attempts so far, and here's Favre looking to throw it.
He's got it, and William Henderson gets in. Touchdown Packers.
As the Packers take advantage of yet another Bear turnover.
5 in the game, and the kickoff by Longwell. Ahmad Merritt Returning for Chicago, Merritt still on his feet and edges his way to the 36-yard line. A return of 23 yards. Well, Bears have their work cut out for them now, including
5 in a row. And 16
of 18. They have dominated this long-time rivalry in recent years. First down, and Miller falls down, and that's a familiar sight from what we saw last week against Detroit. But right now, let's get a game break from JB in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick, another familiar sight. Take a look at Michael Vick. What does he do? Nothing there. Oh, I'll take it in. 28 yards to pay dirt. His 7th rushing touchdown of the season. All tied at 21 in Minneapolis. Back to Dick, Darrell, and Ron.
Good sign right there for the Atlanta Falcons and their fans. A game that you mentioned earlier, Dick, could be a trap game. They're hanging in there, playing tough. They
bring Shelton and Leon Johnson out to the right on 2nd and 17, leaving the open for Dustin Lyman. And Lyman still will be about 8 or 9 yards short of the first down after that play. Lyman, of course, with his 2 first NFL career touchdown catches in the first half, as the Bears resorted to trickery on a fake field goal. Brad Maynard with the shuffle pass to Lyman for the first score. The Bears led up to 14-13 before the Packers took the lead late in the third quarter and added to it here in the fourth. 3rd down and 8 for Chicago. Jim Miller all the way. Did not throw a pass during the week. And they're trying to hang in there. A very game quarterback. And here is Miller, and overthrows his intended receiver, Marty Booker, bringing up full half, but have turned things around here in the second. First down, handoff to Tony Fisher, and it's Philip Daniels, and a loss on the play.
Today we've seen Atlanta in a dogfight with Minnesota, so possibly some change in that scenario after today's games are over.
Donald Driver with the reception and a short gain. Giants are leading Tennessee 26-20 in their game at Giant Stadium.
3rd down and 8.
Bears would need 2 scores to get back in this game. Here is Favre on 3rd and 8, running away from trouble, and the pass dropped by Ferguson, bringing up 4th down. That time Alex Brown talked about how well he has played as a rookie for the Bears, chasing after Brett Favre, but a flag
again. I think I'm getting it now.
I was almost there.
Torque, of course, he says he does it with his hips.
Hips,
right?
And arm.
And arm. It works. First down for the Bears on their 49-yard line. Miller dumps it out to Dustin Lyman. Lyman looks like a pretty good tight end, just developing in his 3rd year, and he gets a first down for Chicago.
It's interesting to see both of these teams. We've talked about the injuries that they have had, and they've had another guy step up in somebody's place, and John Davis just coming into his own as a tight end for the Chicago Bears, doing some nice things in the passing game. He goes down, and now it's Dustin Lyman's turn. He's taking advantage of this situation, has had a very nice game this afternoon.
Tennessee getting that extra point, 26-21, trailing the Giants, who are right now on the outside looking in the playoff race. First down, and Jim Miller finds Leon Johnson, breaks a tackle, and Johnson gets another first down. It was Keith McKenzie who had a hold on him and lost it, and the Bears get 12 yards out of it.
Well, you can see why Leon Johnson is their short yardage back. They've got a lineman. Leon Johnson breaks that tackle. A good job of sensing Marcus Anderson coming from behind. Watch here as Marcus Anderson comes in to make the tackle. He gets the ball put away and secured, something the Bears have struggled with this half, their turnovers.
Could this be a second win for the Bears? And this pass for Leon Johnson is incomplete, bringing up 2nd down with 4:03 on the clock. Jim Miller trying to bring the Bears back. Bears have turned it over 5 times today, and 2 of those turnovers have resulted in Green Bay scores. Total yardage, maybe a lot more than you would have expected on a cold, windy day like today.
And the big thing right there in the second half, you can see the Green Bay Packers have absolutely taken control of this football game, but a lot of that courtesy of the Chicago Bears, their inability to hang on to the football.
2nd and 10 on the Packer 27. Show blitz, come with blitz, and the throw, trying to get it to Lyman, is incomplete. One of the big moments of the game, the Bears thought they might have a touchdown pass. It was ruled incomplete. They challenged it. Actually, the ball was down on the 1-yard line. It would have been first and goal at the 1. They challenged. Say, why would Dick Duran want to challenge it and lose a timeout? He lost a timeout, and they fumbled on the very next play. Did the Bears, and the Packers went down the field and got the field goal that put them in front.
A 10-point swing in that critical series of events right there in the third quarter.
Talk about big plays. One coming up here. 3rd down and 10. Jim Miller down, sacked, and a big loss of 7 yards. And it was Hardy Nickerson with the sack and the second of the game. 4th down and long coming up.
And this offensive line has held up pretty much the entire afternoon. They get pressure from both the sides. Hardy Nickerson comes in through the middle to clean up, but this is a makeshift offensive line. That sack puts them in a difficult position now to make a decision. They're going to go with the 52-yard field goal attempt by Paul Edinger.
And a long one for Edinger. The Bears needing 2 scores, trying to get one of them here with under 3.5 to play. 52-yard field goal attempt, and it is hooked way off the mark, no good. And the Packers will take over, clinging and maintaining that 9-point advantage. Enthused over the Packers command right here, Tony Fisher, and he is going to be a major hero if the Packers go on and win this game. Tony Fisher picking up 8 yards on 1st down, and the clock winding down to 3 minutes to go in the game. Fisher has picked up 56 yards on 11 carries in relief of Amon Green, who went out with a sprained knee, came back from the locker room, tried to go, and limped off the field. 2nd down and 2. For the Packers, just shy of midfield. Here's Fisher. Why not? Tony Fisher been doing it all of the second half, going outside, and a huge gain to the 34-yard line. A flag is down after Fisher goes out of bounds, picking up 17.
1st down on the 26 of the Bears.
Packers lead 23-14. Looking to break the 2-game losing streak, and Tony Fisher a big reason why they are in solid position to do that. Fisher getting 5 more yards for the Packers. And a 2:16 to go. Timeout, Chicago.
This has not been able to make a critical stop when it needs to, and it's just been a different football team since that big key turnover when they had 1st and goal at the 1.
Fisher running nearly at will, getting inside the 10, close to a 1st down.
And there's nothing more demoralizing for a defensive unit when the offense is just continually running the ball just straight down your throat, and that has really been the case since about the midpoint of the 3rd quarter. This Green Bay Packer offense has just taken control of the football game between the offensive line, the defensive line. This game has totally shifted to the Packers.
Final timeout used by the Chicago Bears. Brett Favre with 221 yards, 2 touchdowns. From Notre Dame. And Notre Dame fans hanging their heads today after losing to USC yesterday in the season finale. We're in position for a BCS Bowl spot, and that's going to go by the boards. But Tony Fisher getting it done for the Shamrocks today, huh? 1st and goal at the 9-yard line. And they give it to Tony Fisher. Fisher stumbles his way to the 5. And the 2-minute warning with 1:59 on the clock. Packers just about 2 minutes away from
the Green Bay Packers. They have been running the ball much more effectively here in the second half and have controlled the flow of the football game.
Bears are out of timeout. 2nd down and goal. Tony Fisher fighting his way down close to the 2-yard line. Well, the Packers they know how to play in the cold weather. 3rd down and goal. Here's Fisher, and Fisher touchdown. How fitting that Tony Fisher, with the kind of game he has had since Amon Green went down to his Lambeau leap, gets to score a touchdown. So Tony Fisher with his first NFL touchdown, and the Green Bay Packers rolling here in the second half. And if Ryan Longwell succeeds on the extra point, 24 unanswered points. And the executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. And the kickoff returned by Ahmed Merritt out to the 32-yard line. And our thanks up here to Chris Visser and Rick Odioso, who's slowly getting over Notre Dame's loss to USC yesterday, but delighted to see Tony Fisher play so well as a rookie in a Packer uniform.
We didn't have a real good weekend for our alma maters here in the booth.
I knew you would bring that up.
Well, you know, we can't give Rick a hard time with the way Syracuse played yesterday.
Hey, anytime you're 4-8, I'm not sure what bowl the Orangemen are going to. First down on the 32, Jim Miller all the way at quarterback. And a very game Chicago Bear team running out of gas. Too many turnovers. Dustin Lyman with the completion with under a minute. Second down and 3. And Jim Miller will dump it off to Leon Johnson, who was hit. Gets the first down by Marcus Anderson.
And here was one of the big concerns coming into this football game, the injury to Chad Clifton. They were going to go with a new offensive line group, but this group has played before. You look at some of those victories over New England, over Miami. Those are quality wins. And another win for that group. They now moved to 4-0, and they really took control of the game this second half.
Marty Booker on the reception, and a penalty flag is down. "19 seconds remaining."
$12 men on the field at the time of the snap by the defense. 5-yard penalty. That penalty is declined. The play results in a first down.
First down for the Bears. So the Packers will go to 9-3 on the year, and the Philadelphia Eagles, playing the Rams coming up in the second half of our doubleheader, 8-3, need to win to maintain their second place standing in the conference. Henry Burris in the final seconds of the game, drilling a pass, tipped up, and the pass is caught. Touchdown by Marcus Robinson. So Henry Burris, who was the third quarterback on the Packers for 11 games last year, and wants it back up in the Canadian Football League, throws a touchdown pass 45 yards to Marcus Robinson.
Well, the one thing the Packers didn't have to worry about through the course of this game because of Jim Miller's injury was the deep ball, but Henry Burris comes in, his first throw, throws the ball downfield. Good concentration right there by Marcus Robinson to keep his focus on that football for the touchdown.
Darian Gordon might have gotten a hand on that ball, bounced it, tipped it in the air, and it was caught. So Burris with his first NFL touchdown pass. And Jim Miller is in there for the two-point conversion. 10 seconds remaining. Too little, too late for the Chicago Bears, and this one will not go. Pritchett cannot hold on, and the two-point conversion goes by.